Jacob and Joseph finally reunite. They see each other.
And they cry.
Yeah.
They
Another
weep.
breakdown. This
Another
man been
one.
crying.
He
been
holding it in
crying
for all these years.
And he started crying in the pit. We didn't even talk about that for real.
Nah,
He been
yeah,
crying.
He probably has.
Poor baby.
I know he been going through it.
He's
This
second
is
in
quite the
command.
life.
He good.
And Joseph we forgot the other tie. We started with Joseph as a Gen Z.
Oh.
Then he was the Gen
He's
Y, millennial. He might be getting up there now.
He probably is. We can give him a little more time. Maybe
a little bit more.
Next chapter or so.
He's getting up there.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
We've gone through a lot from chapter 42 to chapter 46.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good to do some sort of recap here. Right? I think we touched on a lot of it. Did you have something else, Jasmine? I'm sorry.
I would love Moya to give it in.
Ooh.
Not from the beginning.
Okay, maybe a simplified version, because I was I was going back through and using the headings as my way to remember everything that happened. And I was I need this slimmed down in a very millennial way. And I was who better than our resident millennial?
And the
pressure.
Resident millennial.
Okay, so 42 is where the brothers are first going to Egypt.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Let's think. All right, so famine. Famine starts, right?
Yeah.
Famine starts. Jacob is we already talked about this a little bit. Hey, what are y'all doing? Why y'all standing around?
Mm-hmm.
And
one of my favorite scenes of this entire podcast.
Yeah, so they have to go.
Yeah.
And Benjamin does not go because he's the new favorite.
Right.
And they get there. Joseph sees them from afar, which is connecting us back to before where he was seen from afar.
Yep.
And he accuses them.
Accuses them of being spies.
Yes, he accuses them of being spies, which we had parallels in that episode. So go back and watch 42 if you want the details, because this is a summary. But yeah, so he basically sets them up, but they don't know yet that they're being set up. But they're also told the next time you come, you need to come back with your brother, and I'm gonna hold on to who was it? Simeon. I'm gonna hold on to Simeon.
Yep.
And he knows they're gonna be back because he's Joseph, and he knows that this famine is gonna last a while. And they're like, "Listen, Simeon, you can stay.
Right.
We will not be back."
Because Joseph, Do you want to just keep rolling through, or do you want to?
We can stop questions? If you want to.
Yeah, one part that I think we have to highlight, because it emphasizes his emotional turmoil throughout the rest of the chapters, is when he overhears his brothers. They're talking about him and how they hurt. He begged us and we did not listen. And knowing before we thought that he was just just going along with the program, and we find out that no, he was begging for his life, and you guys just proceeded with a cold heart.
Yeah,
broke my little heart.
Yeah, and that's also why we were like, you know what? Go ahead and test them.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead. They deserve it.
They do. They deserve all. Be shook when you see this money in your bag.
Yes.
So do we think, and I know we're going to walk through this, but do we think that Joseph's mindset changed between now and where we see them end up in chapter 46?
Yeah.
How?
I think in the last chapter, we kind of talked about his mindset changing and him seeing that they are truly changed. And now he just wants to, I just want to love y'all.
Right.
I just want to be back with my family.
Well, and I think I feel like if between 42 and 46, it was there's a fire and then it's extinguished. And the way I look at it like that, because in the fire, Joseph is hot. He's upset. He is reacting instead of making I don't know, like if someone does something to you, you're acting off instinct, and he was just acting on his emotions, especially after like he was sad, angry, all those different things, after overhearing his brothers, after like seeing them, all of those things. As we get to 46, he's tested them, he's seen their evolution, he's seen Benjamin, like all the things, all the running emotions he had are starting to like settle down a little bit. He's a little bit more at ease, and then he's thinking rationally. I don't think that in the like 42 like to 43 he was being rational. I only say that because I was just so shocked by his behavior and like how he's been thus far before 42, like 37 to 42. I just was so stunned, like where is this energy coming from? But I also try to put myself in his shoes. If you were that person, you were thrown into this pit, and your siblings left you for dead, and now you're seeing them again, like what kind of emotions would it stir up for you? So I get it, but I think now it's growth and maturity. But also I guess he's entitled to feeling how he felt, but in my book I think he's maturing a lot more as he goes through this scenario.
Yeah. And that's why I asked the question, because I'm wondering how petty was he being here?
Very.
Versus as we see the progression through, and we'll talk through these through some of the other, right? Was it really like petty, right? Using our, I won't say the G words back to back because it got some weird reaction. Was he being petty here?
Yeah.
Right? And it sort of eased up as he saw some responses from the brothers, and that's where I struggle with it. Was it always a test? I think it's right. It's always a test because the word says that it was a test. But some people try to pass this off as Joseph doing the work of God. Yeah. And I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
I don't see it that way.
Right.
I think we talked about it in that chat, in that episode. Like, humans, we have our emotions and God can use it, yes, but our sin does not equal God's like
working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And 42 is also the chapter where Reuben got demoted.
Yeah.
Because nobody wanted to acknowledge his offer
to kill his kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which kids?
I know, we enlisted his kids.
Like,
which ones you want to give up?
So this, all right, let's talk. I don't want to, but we're still in 42. We'll do the summary of 43. But let's talk about Reuben's journey.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we've been trying to focus on, but even in 42 to 46, I think his journey is profound. And that here we see him trying to have big brother energy.
Yeah.
And after this, we don't hear from him anymore.
Silent.
No.
None.
But I think that like as an older sibling,
or a second oldest sibling who acts like the oldest sibling.
Yes.
We don't want to leave Moyo out.
Right, of course. I think that there's a time when you experience something that makes you just say, okay. Right? And I think it could be sibling rivalry. It could be your parents not treating you how you want. It could be literally anything that you try to step up, because I know for most of us older siblings, your parents have told you, if I'm not here, it's up to you. Like, you're the second in command. Like, you have a responsibility to your family, or your siblings, or you have to watch out for your younger siblings. It could be anything. And there could be things that happen that just detach you from that relationship or hurt your feelings or whatever, that kind of that adds some separation there. And I think after being dismissed by his father, that was enough to say, well, listen, I have my own responsibilities that I could go take care of. I was trying to step in and be a little, have a little bit of big brother energy, but I also have a family. So okay. I can go take care of that. Or I can just continue being the big brother taking care of my brothers, like just fulfilling that role. I don't have to step up and do this,
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah. 43. All right, so 43 is okay. It's been a minute. We out of food.
Yep.
We need food again. And Jacob is like, hey, can y'all get us some more food? And they're like, no, bro, we already told you we can't go back. We stole by accident somehow. We got money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't want to send your son Benjamin. Right. So what do you want us to do? And now we have Judah stepping up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Judah is like, hey, my life or his life, I will bring your baby back. I promise you. Mm-hmm. And also, if you don't let us do this, we all die.
Yeah.
So do you want us all to die, including your favorite, or do you want us to live? And so he reluctantly agrees and lets Benjamin go.
Yep.
But he's like, make sure you take some stuff. Right. And he sends them off with some things.
And he prays.
Yeah, he prays for them. And then they go. Yep. And they take all the stuff their dad says to take. And then Joseph sees his baby brother. Mm-hmm. And they get a little worried because Joseph is like, hey, I'm working, but, put them in my house. Yeah. And they're just there thinking of all the worst things because they're in this situation that they don't expect.
Mm-hmm. Spilling their guts.
Yeah. And being like, listen, I got the money, see? And I got more money for more food. So guilty conscience as always. Yep. And Joseph comes and he talks to them. He's like, oh, that's the baby brother you were talking about? Yep. And is your dad still alive? Like all the questions he normally, the questions he asked before, but now he's getting to see the brother.
Right.
And Joseph has another breakdown.
He does.
He has to step away.
Yeah.
That's 2 thus far.
Yeah. 2 breakdowns.
2 thus far.
This time for his brother. And again, details in episode 43.
Yes.
Get all the details. Go back.
Go back and look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the feast, I think that's important.
Yeah. Yes.
Because they have a big meal, and it's what we were talking about with the seating arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They were aligned by birthright.
Yep.
Yep.
So
they turned up at that party.
They got turned. Can you say that? Turned up, got turned.
Yeah.
Yes. So, what about Jacob? Where first Jacob is like, no, there's no way you're taking it.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about in 43 in that episode how there's no other choice. Right. He doesn't have another choice, so he has to. It's not like he's willingly being like, yeah, go ahead.
And that's what I was sort of wondering. Do you think that there's a change in him that would be willing to allow Benjamin to go? You're saying that it was just circumstance.
Yeah, it's desperation. I don't have another choice, so it is what it is.
Yeah, so he hasn't changed in this way, with the exception of, and I like how you said it, like, would you please go to get food type, as opposed to in 42, like, what y'all doing here? Go get us some food.
I feel like Jacob has stayed the most consistent.
Huh.
I do. I don't think that there's been significant change with him because he's grieving his son. Mm-hmm. He has a new favorite son. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want you to take them, obviously, because he doesn't want to grieve again. This will kill him. He's like, you have bereaved me of my children. Like, you want me to die. You want to kill me off. Basically, you're all stressing me out. Y'all need to get it together. Like, and then, but I don't, like, even when we get to 46, and he's taken sacrifices and has his dream. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think that we're seeing some big revelation from him. Right. He's just doing what's necessary.
What he does.
Yeah, and that's, it's like you said, it wasn't an option. You lose one or you lose all in your life. Like, you have to pick. And at every point, I just feel like Jacob does what he has to do to make sure that we can keep getting by.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is also when we start to see Judah step up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think we can talk about Judah without looking back at 38.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see, I think, a drastic difference in Judah between chapter 38 and what we start to see happen in chapter 43.
Yes.
Is Judah's change done by necessity as well?
No.
You don't think so?
No. Because in Tamar's story, he loses his sons, right? That's already enough to change somebody.
Okay.
He tries to protect his final son,
Sheila, right?
which I feel like any parent would do that. That wasn't like anything crazy. Not taking care of Tamar, we talked about how he was a little selfish, a little like he started off as people are dispensable. Yeah. And now it's like, okay, people are dispensable, but not my baby. Not my one last son. Like I only got one left.
Right.
And then Tamar does what she does. And he's like, oh, actually, I should have been better. Mm-hmm. And this is the start of him being like, I need to be a better person. Yeah. Like I'm not who I should be.
Okay.
And I don't think that was out of necessity because he could have been like, girl, I don't care. Like that is not my baby. How you gonna prove it? Like you got my stuff, but so what? You stole it. He could have did anything. It's Judah. Yeah. Judah's the one that came up with the plan to sell his brother. He could come up with anything. I feel like he could have did anything. Or he could have killed her. He could have sold her away. He could have done anything to be like, no, I'm not accepting that.
Yeah.
That's valid. Okay.
So I don't think it was out of necessity. I think it was out of realization that I need to be better.
It makes me think, because we talked about this in that episode in 38, where Judah finally comes back and he says something to the effect of, she is more righteous than I.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And maybe, that might be like the turning point for him. And now he's like, I finally get to step up into that righteousness potentially.
Yeah.
It's happening here. So I would agree that this happened way back then.
Yeah.
And now we may just be seeing it.
Yeah.
Because he's looking at Reuben like, bruh, your children, his grandkids, really? All right, look, Dad, it's me. It's me and him. We gon' rock this thing out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Verse 44.
Chapter 44.
Yes.
Yeah. Chapter 44. They just finished the party in 43. Mm-hmm. Now they waking up bright and early.
Real quick. Because I wanted to touch on something. The party. Yes. Was it part of just the setup?
I think so.
I think he wanted to celebrate with them. And then he was like, wait a minute. Y'all not just about to leave. What? Y'all just gonna leave scot-free? No. We need to test you some more. Just because y'all brought him because y'all had to. And I knew y'all were going to have to come back. Yeah. Let's see if y'all really about this life. Joseph. I don't think the party was the test. I think I love my baby brother, but I can't tell him it's me. But I don't know about y'all yet.
Yeah.
Joseph is too smart for me. I couldn't work for Joseph. I wouldn't know what's, when it's like.
When it's legit. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gaming me right now? Yeah, we're celebrating. You gave me a raise. But are you like about to come on the other side and do something crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely felt like, because we know how this has been hurting his heart, I felt like the dinner was a way to just kind of satisfy some of that urge to be like, I love you guys. Like, I love my baby brother, because he's still testing them to make sure that they were legit and they had actually changed. But it kind of eased a little bit of that aching in his heart. But still, I still need to make sure that y'all about what y'all say y'all about.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think I don't think the dinner was the test, but I think it was to help him more than them.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just asking questions. I don't think there's any
right answer,
right or wrong answer. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just asking questions to get our take on some things.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. 44, please.
Bright and early, they wake up. And they don't get too far before they realize, or not before they realize, before Joseph is like, hey, go ahead, get them.
Yep.
See what they say. And the servant is like, hey, y'all stole from old boy. Like, you stole from the man. And they're like, we promise you we didn't. We swear on everything we know and love. We did not
take it.
Mind you, the last time y'all stole stuff by accident.
Right.
So he's like, all right, bet. And they're like, kill anybody you want. Whoever stole it, kill him. And he's like, okay, I'm not going to kill anybody, but I will take them as a servant. I will take them because stealing, the punishment, you become a servant, you know? And so they're like, all right, bet. All eagerly take their stuff off, put it down, check it. And he goes and he checks it one by one, oldest to youngest, and Benjamin has the daggone cup. And they're like, no, not Benji.
Not Benji.
And of course, they all have stuff in their bags that they didn't put in their bags. And so it's a setup again, another setup.
Yep.
And so they're like, hey, yeah, you can't take him. We're all going to go with you. Right. Like we're all going. So they all go back to Joseph, and Joseph are like, so y'all just going to steal from me, huh?
See, and that it's important to note that Joseph put that cup in there. Well, he had his servant put it in there. Yep. So he set them up for sure, and it was a test. But it's also important to note that I feel like this is where there was a proof of a shift in the brothers, because they didn't leave Benjamin behind. Like, take him.
Go ahead.
You can have him. We didn't do it. We promised we didn't do it. He did it, so you can take him. Punish him. Make him the servant. Kill him. No. But I think it was awesome to see them sticking together, because they did the complete opposite when it came to Joseph. Yeah. And Joseph was the favorite. Benjamin's not the favorite. So instead of treating him how they treated Joseph, they are now like, okay, we need to be with our brother. Like, we need to make sure we go with him. You're not going to take him. Because also they're really also doing this to protect their father, because they know what this would do to him to lose his son. And Judah is the one speaking up in a lot of these. And we talked about before that Judah lost 2 of his sons. So he knows what that pain feels like. So he's also trying to he put himself in his father's shoes. Yeah. So that's also something I found interesting here. Character development. Yeah.
So like you said, Judah is like, hey, what can we say here? Like, we cannot go back without him. Yep. Yeah. We rather all be servants for you than to go back and leave him. Yeah. Which again, the shift. And he tells Joseph the whole story, like from beginning to end. Right. Yeah. This is what happened. This is what you said. This is what my dad said. This is what I said. This is what this person said. Like, put it all out there. Yep. And that was where we left our cliffhanger. Yeah. And we were just like, what are you going to do, Joseph?
What does Joseph do?
Yeah. What does Joseph do?
Yeah. So that was one question I had about that we just talked about. The brothers speaking as a collective here. So this seems to show not just Judah being the one who's turning, but as was mentioned, the entire set of brothers that have turned back to be. I don't know about y'all, but do you see this as like redemption for them? As a sort of they are reconciled. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Sort of like all human beings need to be reconciled unto God, and the only way for that to happen is through Jesus. Yeah. And this is like a reconciling of the brothers back to Joseph.
Yeah, I saw this as the moment.
This is the moment when they started to turn. And it's also one thing that stood out to me is it's even bigger to me because the only one that said that they were going to be responsible for Joseph was Judah. Right. Yeah. So could you imagine if Judah was like, nah, we all gonna stay, and the rest of the brothers, I'm not responsible for Benji.
I did not sign up for that.
I didn't sign up to be responsible for Benji. So Judah, you need to stay with Benji and work that out. But they all went back.
I love that.
Yeah.
So cool. 45.
All right, 45. That one is where Joseph finally final breakdown. But this time he's like, get all the other people out of here, just me and my brothers, and he loses it. Yep. And we talked about in that episode, the last episode, basically about how gut-wrenching this was and how everybody heard it. Yeah. And so it was just very emotional time.
Yeah.
The brothers are shocked. They are in terror. Like they're like seeing a ghost right now.
Yeah.
Because they thought this man was dead. And it's been a long time. And they've literally been talking to him they've been talking to him not even knowing, like,
right.
What do you mean you're Joseph? And he's like, I'm Joseph, the one y'all sold. And like he I don't know, Joseph is such Joseph. Like,
Yeah, he is.
he's just him. And he reassures them, like, it was for a purpose.
Yeah.
Like there was a bigger plan here. Like y'all don't worry about it.
God did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or God had a plan
Right.
when all of this happened.
Yeah.
But I also think he said that God sent me here.
God sent him here.
Did these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Which shows his
But then we talked about how we can't necessarily relieve them of their sin.
Yes.
Right. So that's why I said God could have did it anyway. Did it have to be that way? So
it didn't have to be that way.
Yeah. But yeah, God sent him there. However it was done, it happened.
Yeah.
And Joseph is like, it is what it is. We're here, and I'm here for a purpose and to save the world.
Yeah.
I'm here to save the world.
Yep.
And they all cry together. They talk. He starts making plans for them again. Like,
oh man,
go get my daddy. You said he was alive, right? Can you go bring him for me?
They sent him with all this stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff.
For Benjamin.
Benjamin is still the favorite.
Yeah.
Don't forget that is my real brother.
that's
Ain't
that's
no
my
halves
dude.
over here.
Yep.
So yeah, he takes care of them.
Yeah.
And he's been taking care of them. It might have been in weird ways.
Yeah.
It might have been in
That's
little
true.
shady, petty ways
That's true.
where he's also scaring them, but he's been taking care of them since the moment he laid his eyes back on them. Like, I'm gonna mess around with y'all a little bit, but
But
I take care of y'all at the same time.
Good, because I think you mentioned this when at first, right, when we first in 42, Joseph is like, all of y'all staying, only one going back.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day he comes back like, nah, we just
that.
gonna keep one.
Yeah.
Right. And then maybe that was because, and I think it was brought up, how you gonna get a bunch of food back on one donkey or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Or would it be too much to wrangle 7 donkeys or 10 donkeys?
Yeah.
Yeah, by one person.
Yeah. And they all have families back home, so
Right.
it's only so much that one person can handle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he's always looking out.
Yep. So I think that's the culmination of, to me, 45 is the crescendo of verses 37 to 50. Does it sort of make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Because everything sort of comes together. You see the purpose and you see what's going on. And then from there, you start to go down towards the normal living of Israel in the new digs that they've been given by Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions, thoughts, progression of people from chapter 45 that you all can think of? I think by it being the crescendo, we've probably maxed out everybody's chance.
Yeah.
And 45, they come back and tell their dad all of the information
Mm-hmm.
and let him know, hey, this is what happened, and Joseph is alive, and he's again shocked because Joseph has been dead all these years, or in their head dead all these years.
He was unalive, now he's alive again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so everybody gets the news in this same chapter, so it's interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody gets the same news, because we were talking about the fact that some brothers knew that Joseph was a slave in Egypt and wasn't really dead.
Mm-hmm.
Did Reuben know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did
Jacob
Benjamin know?
Yeah.
Did Benjamin know?
Yeah.
Right? So everybody's on the same level playing field. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. And then last but not least.
And then 46,
46.
we just read that.
Yep.
We get Jacob going to Beersheba, basically seeking guidance from God to be like, is this the move?
Yeah.
Like, is this what I should be doing?
That's what I think.
Yeah. And so God assures him, I am going with y'all and I will bring y'all back up.
Mm-hmm.
Again, God don't be giving people dates like that. So
Right.
how long is this gonna take? Forever.
Don't know, but I'll bring you up. And it's also interesting because I think we can get caught up in that too. Just talks to God's bigger plan for nations and worlds, and we get so caught up into the fact of what God is doing for me,
Right.
when it could really be a lot bigger than just you.
Right.
It's not just you, Jacob. I got some stuff in store for the whole of the nation of Israel. All right. So that just popped in my head. And that's interesting.
Yeah. Then we get the genealogy.
Yep.
King of everybody.
Everybody that comes down
Yeah.
to Egypt. And then Jacob and Joseph finally reunite. They see each other.
And they cry.
Yeah.
They
Another
weep.
breakdown. This
Another
man been
one.
crying. He been
holding it in
crying
for all these years.
And he started crying in the pit. We didn't even talk about that for real. He been crying.
He probably has.
Poor baby.
I know he been going through it.
He's
This
second
is
in
quite the
command.
life.
He's good.
And Joseph we forgot the other tie. We started with Joseph as a Gen Z.
Oh.
Then he was the Gen
He's
Y, millennial. He might be getting up there now.
He probably is. We can give him a little more time. Maybe
a little bit more.
Next chapter or so.
Yeah,
He's
but
getting up there.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's coming for all of us.
Yeah. So he gives them the plan to what they need to say to Pharaoh in order to get the land that they need in order to be in the position that they need to be for future.
For the future.
Yep.
Awesome. This was a good set. I enjoyed it.
I like the recap because it puts it all together. I mean, of course, we read through it and we talked about it, but when you can sit down all at once and put all the pieces together, I'm like, oh, wow, this is like an epic story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is definitely an epic story. Been glad to do this with you all.
Oh.
As I always say, you guys rock. You're awesome.
Rock.
I'll pay you later for that, Jasmine. So that was the recap of 42 to 46. And again, we're glad to be here, glad to be doing this. What are you supposed to do? All the liking?
Like, share, subscribe, comment.
Turn on your notification bell.
Yep.
Tell a friend, tell a friend.
Yep.
So, all them buttons, just push them.
Yeah.
All except for the pause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And make sure you're studying with us. Go back and watch if you've missed any of the episodes.
Yep. Definitely. So with that said, good episode.
Good episode.
We will see you all next time, XYZers.
Hey.
Deuces.
Bye.